त्यागशील सेवा व्रतधारी युवा जगे पुरुषार्थी।
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
त्यागशील सेवा व्रतधारी युवा जगे पुरुषार्थी। वैज्ञानिकता विनय सभ्यता स्वभाव हो निस्वार्थी, स्वभाव हो निस्वार्थी। देशभक्ति में तेजस्वी हो फिर समाज यह सारा। गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा।
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
शिवाजी बुद्ध गगन के तारे।
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
महावीर गोविंद शिवाजी बुद्ध गगन के तारे। परंपरा की पुण्य चेतना उर में हम सब धारे, उर में हम सब धारे। बाल हृदय में उसे जगाकर जगे देश यह सारा। गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा।
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
दुर्बलता को राष्ट्र समर्थ बनाओ।
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
त्यागो सारी दुर्बलता को राष्ट्र समर्थ बनाओ। बंधु भाव समता ममता से सबको गले लगाओ, सबको गले लगाओ। चलो विवेकानंद मार्ग पर शुभ संदेश हमारा। गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा। ईश्वर भक्ति भाव से बहती संस्कारों की धारा। भारत माँ की सेवा में गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा। गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा। गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा।
मधुरं वदनं मधुरं नयनं मधुरं हसितं मधुरं हृदयं मधुरं गमनं मधुरम्।
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्।
वचनं मधुरं चरितं मधुरं मधुरं वसनं मधुरं वलितं मधुरं चलितं मधुरं भ्रमितं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
रेणुर्मधुरो रेणुर्मधुरः पाणिर्मधुरः पादौ मधुरौ नृत्यं मधुरं सख्यं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
गीतं मधुरं पीतं मधुरं भुक्तं मधुरं सुप्तं मधुरं रूपं मधुरं तिलकं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
तरणं मधुरं तरणं मधुरं हरणं मधुरं स्मरणं मधुरं वमितं मधुरं शमितं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
कुञ्जा मधुरा माला मधुरा यमुना मधुरा वीची मधुरा सलिलं मधुरं कमलं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
गोपी मधुरा लीला मधुरा युक्तं मधुरं मुक्तं मधुरं दृष्टं मधुरं शिष्टं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
गोपा मधुरा गावो मधुरा यष्टिर्मधुरा सृष्टिर्मधुरा दलितं मधुरं फलितं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
वदनं मधुरं नयनं मधुरं हसितं मधुरं हृदयं मधुरं गमनं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
वचनं मधुरं चरितं मधुरं वसनं मधुरं वलितं मधुरं चलितं मधुरं भ्रमितं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
वेणुर्मधुरो रेणुर्मधुराः पाणिर्मधुराः पादौ मधुरौ नृत्यं मधुरं सख्यं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
गीतं मधुरं पीतं मधुरं भुक्तं मधुरं सुप्तं मधुरं रूपं मधुरं तिलकं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
हरणं मधुरं तरणं मधुरं हरणं मधुरं स्मरणं मधुरं वमितं मधुरं शमितं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
कुञ्जा मधुरा माला मधुरा यमुना मधुरा वीची मधुरा सलिलं मधुरं कमलं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
गोपी मधुरा लीला मधुरा युक्तं मधुरं मुक्तं मधुरं दृष्टं मधुरं शिष्टं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
गोपा मधुरा गावो मधुरा यष्टिर्मधुरा सृष्टिर्मधुरा दलितं मधुरं फलितं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
अचरज निज मनु मुकुरु सुधारी बरनऊ रघुबर विमल जसु जोदायकु फलचारी बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेस विकार। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीसति लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मूज जनेऊ साजे शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज संवारे लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुबीर हरषि उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरतई सम भाई सहस बदन तुम रोजस गावे अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा जम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहाते कवि कोविद कहि सकै कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीवहि कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीन्हा तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना जुग सहस्र जो जन पर भानु लील्योताहि मधुर फल जानू प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माही जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाही दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हरे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होतन आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लहे तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज संहारो आपे तीनों लोक हांकते कांपे भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे महावीर जब नाम सुनावे नासै रोग हरै सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत वीरा संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे चारों जुग पर ताप तुम्हारा है पर सिद्ध जगत उजियारा साधु संत के तुम रखवारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे अष्ट सिद्धि नौ निधि के दाता असवर दीन जानकी माता राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे अंत काल रघुबर पुर जाई जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई और देवता चित्तन धरई हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलबीरा जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई छूट ही बंदी महासुख होई जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा होय सिद्धि साखी गौरीसा तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा पवन तनय संकट हरन मंगल मूर्ति रूप राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसहु सुर भूप सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय।
योगेशम् प्रियम् धर्म संस्थापकं वीरम् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् ईश्वर भक्ति भाव से बहती संस्कारों की धारा भारत माँ की सेवा में गीता परिवार हमारा गीता परिवार हमारा ईश्वर भक्ति भाव से बहती संस्कारों की धारा भारत माँ की सेवा में गीता परिवार हमारा गीता परिवार हमारा
जय भारत माँ जय गीता माँ जय भारत माँ जय गीता माँ
Jai Shri Krishna. What secret teaching did Lord Krishna want Arjuna to grasp that would help him overcome the delusion and grief at a very crucial moment when he was required to take up his mission and fight? Sankhya Yoga, or the Yoga of Knowledge, is the supreme knowledge about overcoming delusion and being established in a state of Brahmic bliss. On behalf of Geeta Parivar, I welcome you all to discover what the second chapter, Sankhya Yoga, has got to unveil. Seeking his presence among us and to ask the blessings of the Almighty, I invite Sachin Gauravji for the Pratna. Sachin Gaurav is a postgraduate from Ambarnath district, Thane, Mumbai, a laboratory technician interested in reading scripture. He joined Geeta Parivar in November 2021 and serves as a technical assistant. Welcome, Sachin Bhaiya.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishna Vande Jagadguru Shri Krishna Vande Jagadguru. Jai Shri Krishna to all.
Thank you, Sachinji, for melodious hymn. Confucius said that real knowledge is to know the extent of one's ignorance. The radiance which shines in creation is that of the Almighty. To enlighten us with the light of knowledge, I call upon Avinash Shimpi ji for the lamp lighting ceremony. Avinash ji from Pune retired as a general manager from NABARD. He has been associated with Geeta Parivar since April 2021 and serves as co-trainer, technical assistant and examiner. Welcome, Avinash ji.
निषिद्धैरप्येभिर्लुलितमकरन्दो मधुकरैः करैरिन्दोरन्तश्छुरित इव सम्भिन्नमुकुलः विधत्तां सिद्धिन्नो नयनसुभगामस्य सदसः प्रकीर्णः पुष्पाणां हरिचरणयोरञ्जलिरयम् शरदिन्दुनिभां शुभ्रां शुभ्रवस्त्रैरलङ्कृतां कलहंसकृतावासां वरदां शारदां नुमः वरदां शारदां नुमः.
Thank you, Avinash ji. She imparts a plethora of perspectives and knowledge through her commentary. She is a senior trainer, Shraddha ji Raodeo. It is a privilege to welcome our speaker for today. Shraddha ji is a resident of Hyderabad, a bachelor in electronics and postgraduate diploma in IT systems and management. She has worked as a mobile application developer and team leader for over 13 years. She has been conducting Bhagavad-Gītā classes in Hyderabad for over 9 years. Currently, she takes the L4 and sadhaks have completed Jignasu exams under her. A disciple of Swami Ji Govind Giri Maharaj, she serves today as trainer, examiner, and heading the classes in a monitoring team. Welcome, Shraddha ji.
Thank you, Michelle Zini. It was a beautiful prayer by Bhaiya and a very beautiful paper as well also. Thank you, everybody. A very warm welcome to this session. It's very nice to have you all back again for the session. Let's begin by remembering our Guru and Swamiji. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Krishnaya Vasudevaya, Haraye Paramatmane, Pranatah Kleshanashaya, Govindaya Namo Namaha. Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavatam Narayanina Swayam, Vyasena Krathitam Purana Muninam Madhye Mahabharatam, Advaitam Vritavarshinim Bhagavati Mashtadashatyayinim, Amba Tvamanusandadhami Bhagavadgītē Bhavatveshinim. Om Shri Krishnaya Namah, Shri Gurave Namah. So far, our motherly Geeta Mata has steered us through different chapters in level 4, and we are in the last session for the second chapter's Vivechan. So far, we have seen some very critical principles, very important principles that Shri Krishna has made us aware of. Atma Bodh, Karma Yoga, different very important principles we have seen in this session so far. And we are now at a point where Shri Krishna has telling us the importance of a steady intellect. So far, we have seen how the intellect should be. It should be steady. It should be determinate. Once you make a decision to follow something, a good determination it should have to complete whatever good ambitions we have kept for ourselves. How is our intellect? Our intellect is our charioteer. We are all living a beautiful life, and who is steering this life is the intellect. It makes different decisions for us. Certain decisions are correct, certain decisions might be incorrect. But based on whatever decisions are happening, our life is going to be shaped. Hence, it is very important that our intellect has to be perfect. It has to be steadfast. It has to be Sthita Prajna. Shri Krishna is gradually taking us to a very beautiful state that we all should strive to achieve. And this beautiful word has been coined by Arjun, where he has asked, what is Sthita Prajna like? In the last session, we have seen the question that Arjun has put forward to Shri Krishna. Sthita Pragyasya ka bhasha samadhisthasya keshava. Sthitadi kim prabhasheta kimasita vrajeta kim. Such a nice word he has coined, Sthita Pragya. Pragya means buddhi, the intellect. The ones whose intellect is steady, whose intellect is fixed, It doesn't get moved by any difficulties or any distractions, is a sthita pragya. Now, while Sri Krishna was emphasizing how our intellect should be, Arjun has coined this word and asked him, tell me precisely. Now, suppose, a child asks you, you keep telling us this is good, this is bad, this is how it should be. Tell me who is a perfect person. So once, in the sanskar works that we take with Geeta Parivar and other places also, when the sanskar work is being taken, we'll tell children, we should not, lie. You should always speak truth. We should always help others. Now, all these things in principle, children understand, and then in the end they get confused. Okay, what is all this about? Then we give them one example. Be like Maharaja Shivaji Maharaj. Be like Sri Ram, and then they will understand. Okay, this is how I should become. These are the characters that I should imbibe in myself. So these life stories of great people. See, nowadays people are not having this habit of studying the charitra, studying the life stories of these great people around who have existed in our country. But if you think about it from one perspective, the life stories of these people, the character that they all had, can become a guideline. They can become a means for us to, take our life to another stage in this birth, in the upcoming birth, but it will give us a direction. These life stories, the charitra of these great people will form a baseline for us, which it will form a means to improvise ourselves. Similarly, here Shri Krishna is giving a very detailed picture. He is creating a picture of how a sthita pragya person is, how that it kind of intellect is, and that we will try to understand from the shlokas that we'll discuss today. As Arjun has asked this extremely intelligent and extremely important question, Shri Krishna very beautifully explains and answers his question. Shri Bhagavanu Vacham Prajahati Yada Kaman Sarvan Parthamanogatan Atmanyevatmana Tushtasthita Prajnastadochyate. Such a beautiful thing he has explained. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan parthamanogatan. Now, starting from this shloka, in this particular shloka, Shri Krishna has defined the word sthita pragya, and starting from this shloka till the end of this chapter, he has given an exhaustive description of a person with a steady intellect, with somebody who has a very stable mind. What is sthita pragya? Sthita pragya is a wise person whose intellect has become extremely stable. How is his intellect? It is determinate and steady. Now, how does it happen? How is it that a person, if something happens in his life, his mind is getting fixed so easily, he doesn't get disturbed? How does it happen? To understand how to attain that state, first let us understand what is it that makes our mind fickle. What is it that makes our mind weak? What is it that makes our intellect weak? What is it that bothers our intellect the most? What is it that distracts our intellect? So the main reason of this entire instability and shakiness of our intellect is what? It is the desires. The desires that keep coming in our mind, the desires, I want to get this, I want to have a bigger car, I want to have a bigger bungalow. And then whether you get them or you don't get them, depending on that, a set of emotions will arise within a person, and that emotions are going to distract the mind and make it unstable. Gradually, it will affect your intellect and all the decisions that you go ahead and make. This is similar to, say we have steady water. That is the kind of intellect we want. Steady, a very smooth sailing. If you imagine a steady water, and you start putting small pebbles in it, small stones, if you put in those waters, what will happen? Their ripples will come. The water will lose its steadiness, isn't it? Similarly, if we keep putting the pebbles of desire in our mind, in our intellect, it is bound to get unstable. Our wisdom is bound to get unstable. And in the presence of excessive desires, in the presence of desires, it is impossible to maintain a stable intellect. So what do we do? How does now Shri Krishna has been telling about Sthita Pragya. He's trying to understand, Arjuna is trying to understand. Here Shri Krishna has been asked, how does a enlightened soul speak like? How does he act like? In further shlokas, Shri Krishna has explained it. Dukkeshmanudvignamana sukheshu vigataspraha Vitaragavaya krodhasthitadhir muniruchyate. Extremely important shloka. These entire shlokas, 55th and 56th, very important. All shlokas are extremely important today. So let us try to understand them very nicely. Dukkeshvanudvignamanas. What happens when some, if we get a sad news or some unhappy things, unfavorable things happens in our life, in case of an adversity, what will happen? Our mind will get extremely perturbed, extremely disturbed, isn't it? And some very happy things, and then people will say, yes, 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 they'll start dancing. Small thing, the cricket matches nowadays, you see cricket matches one, they'll be all around the place, night till 12 o'clock, they'll be roaming on their bikes, vroom, vroom, so much excitement on winning. And if they lose a match, then TVs are broken. So many news we'll see the TVs are broken and whatnot happens. So much udvigna means shaking, or they get so unstable by unhappiness. This is a ordinary person. How is a person whose pragya, whose intellect is stable, what will happen to them? Dukkeshvanudvignamana means in state of adversity, they will not get disturbed. See, in this life, there is no end to sorrow, calamities, or any other unfavorable adverse conditions around us. There is no end to all this in this world. But a person with steady wisdom, Shri Krishna says, will remain unperturbed by all these consequences. He will remain completely detached with what is happening around. And sukheshu vigataspraha. He will not be overexcited about what good is happening to him either. Now, how does it happen? Because his only aim in life is to perform his duties. This kind of state happens because their only aim in such a person's life is, I have to discharge my duties properly. To my best abilities, whatever I will do to my best possible abilities. I will discharge my duties appropriately. And they strive for what? Welfare of others. They are not thinking about their own welfare, but thinking about what? The welfare of other people. And such a person doesn't even expect any fruits in return, doesn't even expect anything else in return. And because of these characteristics, a person who has these characteristics, he remains contented, always happy, always undisturbed in most unfavorable conditions also. And in sukheshu vigataspraha, he doesn't crave for honor. Okay, now I have become some, I've been elected of some MLA. Now I should, there should be 50 bikes around me. We should be roaming. That kind of honor, those worldly pleasures, success, all these things, they will not be expecting, even if something favorable happens in their life. He does not intend to prolong it. So somebody comes in, nowadays in politics, we see people coming in power and they will do anything to remain in power. They want those favorable times to last forever. But a person with a steady intellect will not strive for, not crave for that kind of honor, will not crave for prolonging these favorable conditions. He will remain unruffled. He will remain calm. He will remain unmoved. And how he is? Vitaraga bhaya krodhas. This, see, Vitaraga, raga means what? Our attachment to the worldly pleasures. They're very, strongly attached to the worldly things. This is my body. This is how I should look, and because of these strong attachments that we have towards different things around us, what happens? It rises to a fear of losing them also. There might be a fear of There might be a fear of losing them. From the strong attachment comes bhaya, comes fear. And from the extreme strong attachment, if something happens to something that we love a lot, then comes anger also. So fear and anger arise out of excessive attachment to anything. And but how is the person who's not very attached to the worldly things, whose intellect is steady? He's vita raga. Vita means he's not attached to what the worldly things. So he is above all this. He will not be attached. He will not be, because of that he'll be free from all kinds of fear. He will be free from anger also. Now, and this kind of person who is what? First, Dukhesh Vanudvignamana, who doesn't get affected by sorrow, who is not excessively happy in favorable times, and one who is free from attachment, anger, and fear. This kind of person is what? Sthitadir Muniruchyate. He is what? An enlightened soul. He's steady, his intellect has become steady. Now, this one thing we should always know. We all are Bhakta of Sri Ram. All the preachings of Bhagavad Gita, whatever we learn about, read in Bhagavad Gita, all these preachings of Bhagavad Gita come and they are all personified in one prototype and in the form of Bhagavan Sri Ram. When we talk about this also, see, when there is a small incident about, there is a small conversation between Prince Bharat and Maharshi Vashishta. When we all know that when Prince Ram was sent in the forest for Vanvas, Prince Bharat was not in town. He was at his grandmother's place, and when he returned, he was extremely sad by what has happened. He was extremely upset, and in that he was trying to understand everything from Maharshi Vashishta, and he asked, how was my brother's state when he was leaving this Rajmahal? How was he feeling? Did you see the expressions on his face? Was he unhappy? How was he feeling when he was leaving this Ayodhya Nagari? So, beautiful answer Maharshi Vashishta has given, which we all should try to understand. What Maharshi Vashishta told, Bharat, I was the one who gave him the news of his Rajyabhishek. I was the one who told him that, hey Ram, tomorrow you will be crowned the Prince of Ayodhya. At that time, I have seen the expression on his face. And when he was leaving Ayodhya, obviously he came and he bowed down to me. And at that time also I saw the expression on his face. And both expressions were exactly alike. There was no extra excitement about, oh, tomorrow I'm going to be crowned a king. And when he was asked to leave Ayodhya Nagari, Ayodhya, see, it was not that Ram didn't like Ayodhya Nagari. He dearly loves Ayodhya. Janani Janma Bhumishcha Swargadapi Gariyasi. He has told Lakshman that no matter how this beautiful Lanka is, in this Sone ki Lanka, it is so beautiful, but Janani Janma, it is like a Swarga. Ayodhya is like Swarga. So much Sri Ram has loved his own motherland. And in spite of that, when he was leaving, there was no pain on his face. His expression before the time of crowning and at the time of leaving the forest were exactly alike. This is how we also should try to be. That is the reason we should read Valmiki Ramayana and different stories of Mahabharata to understand how an ideal Sita Prajna behaves. Further, Shri Krishna explains, Yas sarvatra nabhisnehas tat tat prapya shubha shubham nabhinandati nadveshti tasya prajna pratishtita. What he says, Yas sarvatra nabhisnehas. What is sneha? Sri Ram also had sneha, means love. We all know. Sneha, love for anything is always there. Sri Ram also, as I said, he loved Ayodhya. But there is something beyond this. Adhik sneha, a little more sneha. And then there is this term abhisneha. Abhisneha means loving beyond, beyond anything. Nowadays, it's like blinded in love, what we say. Sneha is affection. Having affection is good. Being good-willed is good. And being loving and nice to others is very nice. But here when Shri Krishna is saying abhisneha, he means being stuck in affection. Some people are so obsessed to the things they like. Even sometimes we see the parents also nowadays so obsessed that they don't let their children, face any difficult issues, any difficulties in their life. Obsessed, stuck in the affection. This sneha, this love, is sometimes like oil. See, if oil sticks to your finger, it is so difficult to remove, to take it off. In the process of removing, it will also stick to another finger. It just, if it is water, it's easy, you can just wipe it off. If you don't even wipe it off, it is just it will dry away. But oil, it will stick. And if it stays on for a longer time, it gets more and more stickier. Now imagine your entire, now we were thinking about the finger being covered with oil. Now imagine your entire fist is covered with oil. How much effort it will take to remove that chiknahat, remove that stickiness, to completely. This is a very small example that I'm giving you, but this is how our love is. We are so stuck with different subjects in our life. We are so stuck with everything around us. We are so stuck with all the different things that are happening around us that we are not able to focus on what we are supposed to focus. So this, but how is a Sthita Pragya person? He is anabhisneha. Anabhisneha. By adding the ana here, it becomes opposite. He is not stuck to these things around him. How does that happen? Tat prapya shubhashabham nabhinandati natveshti. Whatever is happening in his life, he is taking it as is. No reaction. Here tat signifies all the adverse things and all the favorable things, all the favorable situations in our life and all the adverse situations. In all those, whatever is happening, whether it is shubha or whether it is ashubha, favorable or unfavorable things, pleasant thing, unpleasant things, the mind does not get disturbed for a Sthita Pragya person. If a person encounters a favorable situation, he will rejoice it. Wow, very nice. I wish this remains forever. And opposite to that, in adverse situation, they will develop this malice towards, they'll develop that hate, unpleasant things, small things. Nowadays, so the children also, teachers scolded in the school. I don't want to go to the school. The school is bad immediately. So what is happening? For one particular situation, they have developed an unpleasant reaction, unpleasant opinion, unpleasant perspective towards it. But however, this doesn't happen with a Sthita Pragya person, with a person with a steadfast intellect. They will not get tainted in all these situations. Why? Because tasya prajna pratishtita. He is satisfied. He doesn't bother about what is happening. What is the best thing to do in this situation, they will do. By being Sthita Pragya and not reacting does not mean that remain unfazed, remain akarmaniya, not doing anything. No, doing what is right, just focusing on our duties and focusing on what is the best thing to do at that particular time and not worrying about what is coming to you. We all know Bal Gangadhar Tilak, very great person, a great personality. Different stories of his life one should really try to understand. He has written a great grantha on Karma Yoga in Marathi. There are English copies also available. People should try to make an effort to understand Karma Yoga very nicely from him. When he was, he was imprisoned, he was arrested for, he used to write very beautiful articles in his newspaper Kesari, and for that he was arrested. And when he was arrested, he was given a punishment he was going to be sent to Mandale prison. And it was the worst thing a person could get, worst kind of punishment a person could get in those days. Now, what happened when he was given that sentence in the court? The court gave him that sentence, and obviously Bal Gangadhar Tilak was asked, okay, this is what you have to go to Mandale now. There is no other option. You have been proved guilty of this charges. He said, it's okay. If this court feels, this statement is in Marathi, but here I'll translate it for you. If this court feels that I'm guilty, so be it. But in the court of Almighty, in the court of God, in the court of Bhagwan, I know what I have done is correct. I know what I have done is right. He just focus, calm, no reaction, no worries. And after that, he nicely was taken into the prison. And on the day when he was to be sent to Mandalay, he nicely was sleeping. So the entire country was worried. Bal Gangadhar Tilak is being sent there. People outside were having sleepless nights. But when the authorities, the administrators of jail went to meet Mr. Tilak, he was nicely, peacefully sleeping. He was to be woken up. People are like, people outside are sleepless because you are going and you are nicely resting. And he was like, it's okay. Whatever is happening. So calm. This kind of calmness. Because why? Because he had faith on his actions. He had faith on what he is doing. His focus was only on his duties. In an environment like Mandalay, having a steady intellect and writing a book on karma yoga, oh my God, what an impossible task. Because these people are what? They are always engrossed in what? Atma. They are satisfied in themselves. They live in perfect equanimity of what? Pleasure and pain. And that is the reason there is a complete absence of what? Attachment. And they are able to maintain that balance in everything. Further, Shri Krishna, now this is here, it's sounding also interesting. We want to achieve that, isn't it? So what Shri Krishna is helping us, he is telling us a special knack that a man with a steadfast wisdom has to apply for withdrawing what? His senses from all these disturbing fields that are around us. Yada samharate chayam purmongani vasarvashaham indriyani indriyarthebhyas tasya prajna pratishthitam. What Shri Krishna is telling, he himself is giving a beautiful illustration here about how a sthita pragya person, a person with a steady mindset, how does he behave? He is giving a beautiful illustration. Rightfully, Shri Krishna has used a very beautiful simile of a tortoise here. Tortoise represents stability. And a typical thing about tortoise is when he senses that there is some danger around him, there is a danger nearby. When the moment he senses danger, he will withdraw his limbs into the shell. His head, tail, and all 4 limbs, all he will withdraw and he'll put them inside his shell. Why? To protect himself from all the dangers. Similar to this, similarly, an enlightened one will also do the same thing. Whenever he sees, these are the things that can distract me. At the time of Vivechan, that serial is also coming. It is a distraction. I will do what? Stay away from it. This is just an example. Whatever are the different objects of distractions around him, a sensible and enlightened person will do what? He will consciously pull himself out of these distractions, and he will try that even little affinity should not be maintained towards these subjects. The affinity, the attachment, see, the subjects, the presence of subjects around us, the presence of different distractions around us is not an issue, but the attachment that we have towards these objects, these things, is what creates a problem. And even if a little affinity is maintained towards all these subjects, that person cannot attain a stable intellect. So does that mean a person who remains away from all distraction is a sthita pragya? Merely withdrawing from all these, merely withdrawing his senses from things which are distracting him, is that enough? Is that a mark of a sthita pragya? that Shri Krishna is telling that it is not the mark of a steady person. Again, we will be confused, no? Till now you are telling, don't be attached, keep your, senses in control, everything. Now what Shri Krishna here, it is a small, thing we have to understand, that just keeping yourself away from distractions. Okay, I will not watch, I will not do this, I will not, go out, I will not go to visit the malls, I will not watch my mobile. All these restrictions we will put. Putting restrictions, is that going to make you a sthita pragya? Is the question that one will ask you. One will ask you and should ask ourselves. And the answer comes in the next shloka. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinah rasavarjam rasopyasya parandrishtva nivartate. So, Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinah. What is the meaning of ahar? Ahar is something that we consume. So, ahar for body is food. For mouth, ahar is food. Ahar for ears is what? The sound that we listen to, the words that are around us. Ahar for eyes is what? The pictures. Similarly, that all our sense organs have a different ahar, a different fodder, a different type of feed. Being nirahar means niraharasya dehina means not feeding your senses. Here it does not mean just Ekadashi's upvasa, not eating. We don't do, anyways it is not upvas that do. We just change our diet nowadays. It's not that we remain nirahar on Ekadashi. We just are on a different ahar on Ekadashi nowadays. People, we do not stay without food, but with different food. So, but what niraharasya dehina here means, not giving feed to the senses. Now, by doing, because the Ekadashi the topic has come up, why fast only on food? Let us do fasting of WhatsApp for one day, fasting of TV for one day. One day we will not watch TV. One day we will not watch WhatsApp. One day we will not watch YouTube Shorts. Fasting of YouTube. This kind of things also, because all other senses also need that cleansing. So, Ekadashi fasting, all these are, different actions for cleansing the body. These all other senses also need that cleansing, and it can be achieved by this kind of fasting. We will talk less, not talk today. That's difficult. Okay, we'll not talk for at least 1 hour like that. Okay, so by doing these, actually, we realize that we can actually live without all these things also. So we can keep these objects of enjoying away from ourselves. However, when we are not fasting, when we are fasting, right? It's the Ekadashi today. I don't have to eat. No, I will not eat. But if the same plate of onion pakoras I get tomorrow, I'll eat it. The same plate, today is my Ekadashi Upas. Let's not go to eat samosas today. We'll eat tomorrow. Samosas tomorrow. Today Ekadashi. So what is the use of this kind of fasting? While you're fasting also, the mind is still thinking about food only. So even though from the senses we are refraining ourselves from eating, our mind is still occupied that today I will not watch WhatsApp. No, my WhatsApp fasting today. Tomorrow whole day 24 hours with the mobile. Then this kind of fasting, the mind still remains fixed with the subjects. That is the problem. For instance, now suppose we should not cut trees. Okay, this I'm just telling as an example. If you want to cut, trees or something, we pluck its leaves, you pluck its branches, you cut its branches, but you continue watering the trunk. You keep giving compost to the trunk. You keep giving fertilizer to the trunk, but you keep cutting its branches, leaves, and fruit. The tree is going to grow, isn't it? So the root problem is still there. Similarly, we are still feeding the mind with all these different distractions and expecting and controlling our senses. No, don't eat, don't watch, don't do this. But our mind is nicely, still involved in all these subjects. So what happens, even with trying hard, we are not able to achieve that sthita pragyata. So how to overcome this problem? Yatato hyapi kaunteya purushasya vipashchitaha indriyani pramathini harante prasabham manaha. See, this slok Shri Krishna is explaining, it is not that wise people don't try. Okay, they will try. Purushasya vipaschita. Vipaschita means wise people, the intelligent people, the sita pragya, the people who are in a position to attain that kind of sita pragyata. These kind of people, they try yatato yapi kaunteya. Yatato means they are striving. Yatataha hi. Yatataha, but still they are not able to achieve. Why? Because indriyani pramatini, these sense organs, our senses are extremely powerful. They can create so much turbulence, and what they can do, dharanti prasabham manaha. They can defeat a mind. They can defeat. The senses are so powerful, they will easily defeat your mind. For example, Vishwamitra, we have, how Vishwamitra was not some simple ordinary person. 12 years of penance he did. And when his penance was just ending, and Indra said, no, this is not going to work if he gets all the kingdom. So he sent one Apsara, and he was distracted. Again, after that 12 years he did. Again, he said, now this time he knew that, okay, the first time I got distracted because of the beauty of the Apsara. Second time, what did Rambha do? She offered lot of seva, cleaning the ashram, everything. And one day she didn't do deliberately, and he got very angry. So second time he lost it to anger, because he got so used to having a clean thing and having Rambha doing all the tasks that he lost it to anger. And then later on again, he did a very strict penance and achieved. He wanted to become a Brahmarshi. And so it's not that they don't try. See, they are great people. For us, it is even more difficult. So they try very hard, but still they end up feeling. Why? Because the mind gets defeated by the senses. The reason for this fickleness of mind is that as long as the mind is not permanently established in God, what will happen? The past influences, our past experiences of whatever we have enjoyed, our pleasures that we have enjoyed, they will keep coming back. Oh, the last time that samosa was so tasty, let us try it one more. Because our mind is not fixed where it should be fixed. And that is why these distractions keep coming back. So we have to try to attract our mind to something which is very important. If we try to meditate and control our senses without fixing the mind on the God, then what is happening? We are struggling alone. But if we have God with us, if the mind is fixed at God, with all these fight against our senses, against our sense organs, who is with us? The great Almighty God Himself. If we fix our mind on God and then try to control the senses, the Almighty power will come to our rescue, and then this entire process will become much more easier. It will become easier to relieve our mind from the worldly subjects. So what we should do? Tani sarvani sanyamya yukta asita matparaha vashehi yasyendriyani tasya prajna pratishtita. Shri Krishna has given a very healthy method to achieve this perfect intellect. We all want to achieve that sthita pragyata, to attain that perfect state of sthita pragyata. He is telling we should make a constant attempt at focusing our mind on whom? On God. Shri Krishna hai. Whichever God you like. Ganpati, some people are Shiv Bhakts. The deity, whoever appeals to you. Everybody, see, this is the beauty of our Sanatan Dharma. We have so many duties, and as per our mindset, we can have faith in Bhagwan Shiv, in Ganpati, in Devi Ji, depending on how we want to do it. If we fix our mind on God, then this entire technique, with how it has to be done, Shri Krishna has said 3 very important words here. Yukta asita matparaha. In just these 3 words of this verse, the entire technique of self-perfection is covered. What is the meaning of yukta? It means having a sober, balanced life. Asita means sitting for dhyan or meditation. And matparaha means completely taking refuge in me. This word matpara is very interesting. One of my very favorite words of it. We know the word tatpara. Those who understand little Sanskrit and Hindi, tatpara means desperate to do something, isn't it? Matpara means desperate for God. Matpara, Shri Krishna says, who are desperate for me. They are completely involved, engrossed in me, with full devotion on Shri Krishna, on God, with controlled senses. Tani sarvani sanyami, all controlling all the senses. If one sits and does dhyan, meditation on whom? On Shri Krishna himself, on God himself, then the person will be able to do what? Vashehi asendriyani. He will be able to control all his senses. And with that kind of control, he will be in full control, and then it will reach which state? Tasya pragya pratishtata. That is when he will reach that complete state of his intellect will become sthita pragya. When a striver, when a sadhak like us devotes his heart and soul to God, his senses are controlled. They will not, enjoy. See, a person who is engrossed in bhakti. Now you put some Bollywood Hindi song in front of him, he is not going to enjoy it. And you must have experienced this. All those Geeta sadhaks who are learning with us at Geeta Parivar, in our online Geeta classes, we see now people gradually, these movies and all, they don't enjoy. We don't enjoy. We see that difference in ourselves also. So whatever Shri Krishna is telling, it is not impossible. All that is possible. We have to have faith that this is possible, and you will experience this. I'm sure you all are also experiencing it to a certain extent, that gradually when our mind is getting fixed on Shri Krishna, when our mind is getting fixed on the principles of Bhagavad Gita, what is happening? Our mind is slowly, automatically getting relieved from the pleasures of these outer external pleasures. Now those DJ dachak music, it will not appeal our sadhaks. Why? Because now we are listening to this divine, beautiful songs. But what about those who are not able to devote themselves to God? For them, what is the situation? Shri Krishna is explaining in the next two verses. Dhyayato vishayan pumsas sangasteshu upajayate sangat sanjayate kamah कामात् क्रोधो विजायते क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशो बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति. How is their journey? Sorry. How is the journey of all those who are not able to focus their mind on God? And they remain involved in what? In the worldly pleasures. What will be their situation? Dhyayate vishayan pumsas. Constantly engaged in and thinking in about the worldly objects. What is this? What is beautiful? See, for example, when you see advertisements, there are so many advertisements flashing around just 2 minutes. Even if you see small things, there is advertisement flashing around us. We keep seeing these advertisements and we make a mental note of these advertisements. Dhyayato vishayan pumsas. Now, these advertisements are always behind our back. They will come. Then what happens? Sangasteshu upajayate. By constantly seeing those advertisements and those trailers and everything, even without seeing those advertisements, all of a sudden, randomly one remembers the advertisements. And remembering certain things, even when that thing is not present in front of you, is called sanga. This is what is attachment to the worldly subject. So till now this advertisement kept coming in front of me. This is a worldly distraction that is constantly trying to distract me. I kept looking at it because I was dhyayate. Now the might of these worldly subjects is our God. If we have to dhyaya, here the word dhyaya, it is coming from the dhyana word. Here it means focusing on something. So if we have to focus on God, we have to sit and consciously do it. But the might of the worldly things is such that we don't have to make any focus. Without any effort only we can do the chintan of these worldly things. So this advertisement kept distracting me. I was dhyato vishayan pumsas, and then so much so that even when I'm not thinking about it, when that ad is not in front of me, it just flashes in my mind. And that is the sangha. Gradually we developed a sangha with it. Gradually we have developed a small affinity towards that advertisement. Or the trailer. For instance, movie, so many times we saw the trailer. Now even it is not in front of me, I feel that trailer, should I watch that movie? And then it turns into a desire. If it is an advertisement, you keep thinking, now whatever that object is shown in that advertisement, you start feeling that I want to have it. Is a necessity. It will be so good to have it. Now that Vishay means the subject, has become what? Kama. It has become your desired. Sangat sanjayate kamak. This is what has happened. It has become a desire. And then you desperately want it. And then suppose this ad of, a necklace came, and then it became a necessity. Now I want it, and I go and ask my husband, okay, can we just go and buy? And he says, no, very unnecessary expense. Then what happens? Krodh, kamat krodho vijayate. Suppose for movie trailer, I was telling you, watch the trailer, and then it became a desire. I want to go and watch this movie with the friends, and the child comes and asks the mother, Mama, can I go? And she's like, we will do the studies, so many studies, no watching movies. All of the sudden, that child will have what? Krodho vijayate. Happens, it's happening with everyone in all families, isn't it? And then krodhat bhavati sammohas. That hunger will completely capture the intellect, it will completely capture the wisdom, and then what will happen? Sammohat smriti vikramaha. The people forget what they are. Forget our sanskar, forget where the mind should be fixed, forget what studies we have, forget we are students, forget we are housewives, forget everything, and Vibhramaha, Smriti Vibhramaha means we lose the sense of what is right and what is wrong. And Smriti Bhramsha, once this entire confusion happens, then what happens? Smriti Bhramsha Buddhinasho. Here when we say Buddhinasha, very simple, these two words. Buddhinasha means destruction, or the intellect is becoming wicked. It is becoming corrupted. Buddhi nasho. The intellect cannot be completely destroyed. It is going to be there, but it is becoming wicked. It is becoming corrupted, polluted. Which buddhi is Shri Krishna talking about here? Atma buddhi, the Sat buddhi, the good buddhi. That is becoming what? It is becoming wicked. And buddhi nashat pranashyati. It becomes crooked, wicked, and now this child who has been refused, now you cannot go and watch the movie by the mother. Now he has forgotten, he's still stolen money from the house, and then bunk the classes and go buddhina show. Bunk the classes and then go for a movie, complete buddhina ashat pranashyati. Then destroying the time and not performing nicely in the exam and destroying the life. Buddhina ashat pranashyati. The loss of discrimination, it paves the way towards self-destruction. Similar thing had happened with Kaikai Mata. What had happened? One mantra, even in Valmiki Ramayana, very clearly it is mentioned that amongst all Śrīmad, Kaikai loved Sri Ramji the most. She has showered maximum love on Bhagwan Shri Ram. But one mantra, she painted such a horrible picture in front of her. By just imagining all that picture, she completely lost her mind and made such demands. Later, she regretted everything. But what has happened? Smriti Bhramshat Buddhi Nasho. This is what has happened. And then Ramayana followed. So this is what is because our buddhi, it gives into the kama krodh and it ends up living like that. Ragadvesha viyuktaistu vishayanendriyaischaran Atmavasyairvidheyatma prasadam-adhigacchati. Shri Krishna is not telling us, so now after listening to all this, oh my God, so what should we do? Should we stop looking around? Huh? There are so many things around us. Should we just stop involving ourselves in the world? Shri Krishna is not telling you that. Shri Krishna is not telling us to stop seeing around us. He is not saying the work of the senses cannot be basically stopped. A river is flowing, it will continue flowing. It cannot be stopped. Similarly, the work of our senses, it cannot be stopped. We are living in this era. If you are just walking on the road, also so many banners, boulders everywhere, advertisements, you forget about, you don't even need to go out of the house. In the house, on the phone only, in the newspaper, so many advertisements, so many distractions. You cannot stop it. But what we have to do, raga dvesha viyukte, there is a small, this shloka we'll understand with the help of a small story. Once Gautam Buddha, he had two students. Now Gautam Buddha was a sannyasi. His both students were also sannyasis, and they both wanted to, go out for bhiksha. They were traveling. During this travel, they came across. They were sitting around on the banks of a river, and they saw a lady was falling in the river, and one of them said, Swamiji or Guruji has told not to touch a lady, not to touch a stree. But the other person, he says, no, she's in trouble, I have to help her. He gave her hand, held her hand and pulled her out of the waters. She was saved, she went home. These two people roamed around for 2 months and went and met their Guruji. Now, this entire incident had happened. The first person who had, he's a sannyasi and he held her hand. He had to complain to Guruji. So he told Gautam Buddha, see, you have told not to do this. This is what has happened. He has touched the hand of a lady. So Gautam Buddha said, okay, let me call him. Let me know what has happened. So he called this another person. And he asked, has anything like this happened? So he said, okay. Then he remembered, oh yeah, once this lady was, she was on the banks of river. She slipped. I held her hand and pulled her out. And she went home, I came. So then the first one was very happy. See, Guruji, I told you this has happened. And so Gautam Buddha said, he held her hand, pulled her out and he left it. Why are you still holding the hand for 2 months? Means he has done his act of saving the lady and forgotten it also. But you are still stuck around that. Your mind is still stuck around that. What Shri Krishna is telling us, that it is not that you should stop seeing around. We should not keep holding the hand. Vishaya nindriyais charan. We should stop. We should not let them affect us. They should not percolate within us. What is the best example of, asakti, or best example of this detachment is a mirror. So many faces will look into it. They will see, they will go out. There will be so many reflections. Some people will look at the mirror, they'll make faces. How many faces is the mirror keeping in itself? None. It is reflecting everything back and forgetting. This is how it should be. Problem is not with the senses, but where it is in the mind that is enjoying all the senses and what? Keeping it treasured with us. How should the mind be? Our mind should be like sky, free, clean, the blue sky. Even if the clouds come and then they go away, the mind remains unfazed. The mind remains clean. That is how, the sky remains clean. The sky is unaltered by how many clouds are flying over it. This is how our mind should be. Prasade sarva dukkhanam hanirasyopajayate prasanna chetaso yashu buddhih paryavatishthate. As I told you, our mind should be clean. A clean mind will always be at peace. And when in peace, a mind is in peace, what will happen? Prasade means peace. The word prasad means peace. Peace is a very blissful state of happiness. No matter what, you can say if you have a peaceful mind, the peaceful mind is sorrow proof, I would say. Sorrow proof. So he will sarva dukkhanam hani rasyopajayate. The sorrows will not touch a peaceful mind. What does that mean? A peaceful mind is, unaffected by sorrows around him. Asya sarva dukkhanam hanihi upajayate. Means what does it mean? It does not mean that there will be no sorrows in their life. The sorrows will come. They will stay. But the mind will not become unsettled in these kind of things. His buddhi is what? Buddhi paryavatishthate. It will remain stable. It will not remain unaffected, as we saw for Bal Gangadhar Tilak ji. Nasti buddhirayuktasya nachayuktasya bhavana nacha bhavayatah shantirashantasya kutas sukham. We have, nasti buddhirayuktasya nachayuktasya bhavana. What has happened in today's life? We have attached our definition to the worldly pleasure. What we'll say, definition of happiness now, if you asked, not you all people, people learning Bhagavad Gita are another level, but normally in the society, they, earning so much is happiness. We want this, we want that. We have attached the definition of happiness to how much possessions we have. Big bungalow, our own house, not living in a rented house, living in our own house, living in a flat, living in a bungalow, having your own car. All these are, definitions of small attachment. These we start thinking as stages of happiness for us. But what is happening nowadays, then how the houses are, they have sofa set, cutlery set, crockery set, every type of set, but the mind is still upset. Why? Everything we have, the houses are very fulfilling houses. The family is fulfilled with all its desires, but still the mind is upset. Why? That means the basic definition of happiness needs to be seen. The basic definition of happiness is basically peace. We have embraced prosperity at the cost of peace. This is how it is happening. Peace is not coming us. Why is the peace not coming to us? This entire sequence is explained in this particular shloka. Why? Because how it is happening? Nasti buddhirayuktasya. The intellect, our basic definition of happiness is only wrong. So how is the buddhi? It is ayukta. Ayukta means it is unsteady. The buddhi is unsteady. Nasti buddhirayuktasya means buddhi ayukta asti. Then what happens? Nacha yuktasya bhavana. Because of that, it is not a steady intellect. And that is why it is not able to meditate upon the Almighty. It is not able to meditate. It is whatever actions are being done are done with a set of results in anticipation. We want something back. We are not able to meditate on what we should meditate, and we are unable to perform actions with what? A set of detachment. Small thing like bringing up children. People have so many expectations. When they become big, this, that, everything. We will not talk about all that. You all know. So even small basic duties are coming with what? Set of whole lot of affections. And the ones whose actions are done with very sense of attachment, they will not attain peace. Because why? Then their expectations are broken, and then the peace will not come. And the absence of peace obviously is going to what? Not make anybody happy. When there is the absence of peace, obviously nobody can be happy. Indriyanam hi charatai yanmano nuvidhiyate tadasya harati prajna vayurnavamivambasi. Indriyanam hi charatam. What is happening? The senses are involuntarily attracted to what? The worldly objects. They are constantly wandering. The senses are constantly wandering around. No matter what is happening, the senses will be wandering. They will keep wandering. And what happens? The mind is going to follow them. Yanmano nuvidhiyate. The mind anuvidhiyate. It will follow that. The indriyanam hi charatam. The indriya, the senses are wandering here and there, and the mind is also following them. Tadasya harati pragya. And in this process, what is happening? The intellect is only going away. Their intellect is getting distracted. Hi, what is happening? The senses are wandering. The mind follows the senses, and it tries to enjoy all those objects. It is fixed with all these, pleasures of life. And as the mind starts wandering, it changes the direction of the intellect. Tadasya harati pragya. How it is, just like how the wind changes the directions of the boat in the river. Suppose the boat is flowing in the waters and the wind is flowing in a particular direction. What is going to happen? The boat is going to change its direction accordingly. The direction of a boat floating in the river or in the water changes according to what? According to the wind. Similarly, the way our senses keep wandering, our mind and intellect also keep wandering. So what should we further? What Shri Krishna says, tasmadyasya mahabaho nikruhitani sarvashaha indriyani indriyarthebhyastasya prajna pratishtita. This is all. What is this? This is the situation, Arjun. But what we have to attain, that is why, hey Mahabaho, hey Arjun, you are the Almighty. Now here see what again the adjective that Shri Krishna uses, Mahabaho. Mahabaho, because the mighty arm, somebody who is strong armed, who is controlling the huge armies. You have to control what now? Your senses. What is it? How is it difficult? Is it going to be to control your Nigruhitani sarvashah? What you have to do from all directions, completely you have to control what? The senses. You have to protect the senses from what? Indriyani indriyarthebhyas. Control the senses from the sense objects. And a person who is able to achieve that, tasya prajna pratishtita, that person's intellect is a steady intellect. And now comes one of the most important shlokas of Bhagavad Gita. Yanisha sarva bhutanan tasyai jagarti sanyami yasyai jagrati bhutani Sanisha Pashyato Muni. Here, the literal translation of this shloka, which people believe, is when it is night for everyone, the knowledgeable great people are awake. For them, it is a daytime. And at the time when other people are awake, it is a night time for knowledgeable person. This is a little bit okay, but only the first half. Then the second half becomes a little absurd. Like if everybody is awake, this person is knowledgeable, person is sleeping. No. So there is a very deep meaning to this shloka which we should try to understand. Yanisha sarva bhutanam tasyai jagarti sanyami. Here we have to see from the perspective of an ignorant person and an intelligent person. The two perspectives are different. For an ignorant ordinary person, let us not say ignorant, ordinary person, yes, ya nisha sarva bhutana. An ordinary person will not find studying Bhagavad Gita very interesting. They'll say, what you are studying, it is so boring. Come, let's watch a movie. But an intelligent person, a great person, a person who is aiming for sthita pragyata will find all these critical subjects important and interesting. There, he is jagrat there. He is aware. That is where his awareness is. His intellect is focused. This is darkness. Nisha means it is not of any interest to these people, but to the ordinary people. But the intelligent one will be attracted. They will have affinity for these subjects. But for the subjects of an ordinary person, ya nisha sarvabhutanam tasya jagarti sanyami yasya jagrati. The ordinary people, where they find interest, the subjects of interest of an ordinary person, music, dance, all these things, they will not sa nisha pashyato munehe. They will find them as not interesting, even after making an effort. For somebody who loves studying, and they will not find all these objects of pleasure interesting. They will not be interested in all these things even after making any efforts. So what is of great interest to an ordinary person is of zero interest to a great person, a sthita pragya person. What is of great interest to a sthita pragya person is of zero or less interest to an ordinary person. How to understand this? Again, we'll see an example of Bal Gangadhar Tilak. He once he was, they had a family union, and in the family union, everybody, all relatives are there, and the children are playing, people are cooking, talking, and somebody, so that is Tilak ji, and then they saw he's sitting and studying his Mahabharat book. He's like, oh, I enjoy all these topics. What is interesting for him? The gossip will not be interesting. The family gossip. No, he enjoyed his studies. So one more example in his life. Once he went to a city, and there was a performance by some great musicians of that time. Very great musicians were coming in the city to perform. And some people told him, this, there is this singer coming, you should listen. Everybody from different cities are coming to see that performance. You also please join us. Bal Gangadhar ji said, see, that is okay. This, you are saying he must be really a great musician. He must be singing very nicely. But for me, I like only one song. That song I love to sing whole day and night. It is the divine song that Shri Krishna had sung for Arjun. And he says, before, in front of Geeta, no other Geet is going to attract me. So this is the interest. He was interested in his stuff. He says, my interests are different. Your interests are different. You live your interests and let me live my interests. So this is how the great people are. This is the actual meaning of this shloka. Whatever is, matter of interest for an intelligent person is not something that an ordinary person will enjoy. But what is, a normal day for an ordinary person is actually nisha, that is night, or not matter of interest for a great person. So if this entire world is just like a dark night for a great sage, then how will he live in this world? Isn't it? This looks very like Krishna has illustrated this with a very beautiful example, extremely beautiful shloka. Apuryamana machala pratishtham samudramapah pravishanti yadvat tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve sashanti mapnoti na kamakami. Apuryamanam machala pratishtham. How when it rains, what happens? The tanks, ponds, lakes, rivers, everything starts overflowing. Okay. But have you ever seen an ocean overflowing? No, right? So many rivers keep entering an ocean, but it never overflows. It never crosses its limit. Even if the rivers don't flow in it, it is not going to become dry, isn't it? The ocean is always fulfilled. It is always fulfilled. Similarly, a sthita pragya person is so fulfilled with peace. Shanti mapnoti. He has attained, he is so fulfilled. His state of mind is so completely fulfilled that these kamnai, these desires, like rivers, they are coming into him and they are just settling down, not disturbing anything. Just like when a river flows into ocean, it will not disturb the ocean. Inside the ocean, it is deep, it is gambhir, it is, very balanced. But outside, it is, enjoying the flow of the river. Like that, a sthita pragya person is. All these subjects of the world are not going to disturb him. Just like in ocean, he's going to remain in the same state of, stability. So shanti mapnoti na kama kami, na kama kami. He is not the desirer of any desires. He will remain stable. Then vihaya kamanyas sarvan pumanscharati nispraha nirmamo nirahankara sashanti madhigachyati. Vihaya kamanyas sarvan, by abandoning the desires. Vihaya kamanyas sarvan pumanscharati nispraha. So how is this person, vicharati, how he is moving around in this world? For he is like an ocean. A person, Sthita-pragya person is like an ocean. No matter how many desires are coming to it, he remains unsettled. And how he is moving around? He is moving around without a sense of ego. Nirmamo. Here, nirmam word in Hindi, it means a different thing, but nirmama is not having an ego that this is my body, this is me, this is mine. No, not having any. Everything is belonging to God. He is aware of his true identity. Nirmamo, nirahankara, free of ego. Knowing that I am not the one who is doing the actions, it is being done through me. He is having his complete sense of identity he has. Nirmamo nirahankaras sashanti madhigachyati. He's doing what? He is going to attain the ultimate peace. Esha Brahmis, this kind of sthiti who has attained, what is further for him? Esha Brahmi sthiti partha nainam prapya vimuhyati sthitva mantakale pi brahma nirvana mrichyati. A person who has attained that level of stability, that level of peace, that level of, equanimity, what will happen? This description, whatever we have seen so far, we will be free of all desire. All desires. There will be no thirst for more necessities in life. This mind will be free from all sorts of ego. He will close all, what Shri Krishna is doing by giving this final destination of a Sthita Pragya person. He is now going to close this topic with the final thing. He says, after reaching this state, Arjun, after reaching this state of Sthita Pragyata, no desires can touch you. For example, see, milk, it is going to get turned into curd. Milk will have butter. Milk is getting turned into curd. It will be converted to butter. Butter is going to get converted to ghee. And then ghee, can it be converted to anything else? It has attained its final stage. It is free from any further transformations. Similarly, this person who has attained this type of mental state, no desire can attain you. There are no further transformations for you. He will remain peaceful. He will attain what state? Brahmi sthiti. The ultimate Brahma sthiti he will attain. So normal people, ordinary people, when they experience death, when they are close to death, for them it is very painful. They don't want to leave the world. Kisi tarah main bachau, kisi tarah main theek ho jaun, what will happen to my wealth? The process of death is so painful. But for a great person who has attained the Sthita Pragyata, once this cover of the physical body has fallen off, he gets directly united with the Parabrahma. He gets that Parabrahma sthiti. Brahma nirvana mrichyati. He attains the Brahma. Om Tat Saditi Śrīmad-Bhagavadgītāsu Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyāyāṁ Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Sankhya Yogo Nama Dvitiyodhyayaha. On this note, this extremely beautiful and a very elaborate chapter comes to an end. This entire chapter, it is also, see, its name is Sankhya Yoga, but it is also referred to as Geeta Sutradhyay. Sutradhyay. All the principles, all the sutras that are covered in Bhagavad Gita are all combined in this one chapter also. It is like an Anukramanika, it is giving all the topics. The one who understands this chapter nicely, can understand all the further more chapters more with more speedily. They can understand all chapters more easily, more speedily. So let Shri Krishna give us all the wisdom. Let us all get the wisdom from him to understand all that we have discussed so far. And in complete sense, may we all understand all this. And with this prayer, I offer this entire discourse at the lotus pious feet of Shri Krishna. Om Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Hari Om Tat Sat. Again, a little apologies for the time that we crossed, but we had to complete the chapter, and it's a beautiful chapter, very important shlokas.
Shraddha ji is now open for the question and answer session. Those of you who have questions may raise your hand and Didi will call your name.
Yeah, Narayan ji, Jai Shri Krishna. Pranam.
Yes, Krishna Didi. One simple question is the today's entire session we have been discussing about Sthita Prajna, basically concentrating always on God, no matter what, so that your mind gets stable. It doesn't veer around some other places. How do you apply this in our day-to-day work? Because when we are working, we are supposed to be concentrating on our karma, not on the God. And if you start concentrating on the work, you forget about the God. But if you concentrate on God, your work will get affected. So in our day-to-day work, how do you apply this principle?
All these principles further Shri Krishna has elaborated. So how do we do this? It's a very practical question, very nice. We have to start from very small activities. See what happens now. This is when we want to just take a step directly to the moon. Like I want to become detached and become Sthita Prajna. We have to start with very small things, small actions. Like for instance, a small thing like giving charity. When you give charity, we like, once I give donation, my name should come in newspapers. Oh, that selfie, oh God. Nowadays, when people are even cooking for their own family, what they will do, click selfies and posting a WhatsApp status, cooked this for the family. Small actions also propaganda. Now, what we have to do, whatever I've cooked for my family. This is an offering to the God. Wow, through my family, I'm offering it to the God. Small actions, every small karma, if we start rectifying, like an ant space, we'll slowly be able to cleanse all our actions. Small things in small phases. Giving charity. So forget about charity. Giving something to the maids in the house. Even small thing if we are doing. Now, because we are giving it because it is extra for us, but giving with such a ego, not required. It is a help. You are giving it, forgetting it, not having any. I give you so much things, still tum mere ghar ka kaam achhe se nahi karte. That is incorrect. So I'm giving extremely small examples, Bhaiya, but that is how it is. Everything, it is not going to happen in one step. It will be step by step. Gradually, we'll get to a position where we will not be faced with these small things. Maid nahi aayi, cooking ka tension, iska tension, these small worries will go. And then we'll be able to focus on slightly more important things, slightly more. And then a stage is arrived where even big problems in life are taken with a set, stable equanimity. That stage will gradually come. So, small step at a time.
Okay, thank you, Didi.
And one more thing I want to add to this. See, when we see what happens nowadays, there is this habit of, not reading. Nowadays, people are not very fond of reading, but studying the, personalities, great personalities, like I was telling about Bal Gangadhar Savarkarji, great personalities, Ramayana, Mahabharata, all these our scriptures we should study. The great personalities we should try to study. Bhagat Singh, all these great people, we will learn from there. If you compare our lives with theirs, sometimes after we study them a lot, we'll start comparing. Comparatively, our life is so easy, so simple. And then gradually everything becomes very minuscule. Everything starts becoming minor. Yeah. So people should focus on all these things. Geeta Didi, Jai Shri Krishna, pranam to you, Didi.
Jai Shri Krishna. Thank you for such a very well explained meanings. I want to know the exact meaning of Sankhya Yoga.
See, Sankhya means intellect, basically. So there are different things. Sankhya Darshan, we have 6 darshans in our Shastra, but I'm not very, qualified to talk much about it. But Sankhya here means, Sankhya means intellect, the right intellect. So before Shri Krishna could prepare Arjun to understand all this, he had to have a correct intellect to understand what he is going to tell further. So after, we all know that after the Sankhya Yoga, Karma Yoga and all other things, Shri Krishna has told. But to understand that, he needs a right type of intellect. See, suppose a person is not in a mindset to accept anything, they will not understand. No matter what you tell, in a wrong mindset, at the wrong time, if you tell the right thing to a person, then also it was not going to have an impact, isn't it? So to fix, first he has to bring it in the right intellect. Once the person is coming in the right intellect, then the further things can be spoken to him. So Sankhya Yoga basically means Jnana Yoga. It is correcting the intellect of the person.
Thank you so much. What I read on Google was that there are 2, Purush and Prakriti. So Sankhya is 2. So, but I couldn't relate it to this chapter.
No, Sankhya, you see, that is also there, but we will, that is not this thing. Prakriti and Purush, that explanation is different.
Yes.
You don't read on Google, read in
Yes.
Geeta Press
Okay,
book.
that is why I've asked here. Okay,
Geeta
thank you
Press
so
book.
much.
So, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
If there are any further questions, they can raise hand in the meeting. In the meantime,
अनम्यूट कीजिए प्लीज, अनम्यूट योरसेल्फ जी.
Didi, any more questions? I don't think so.
No, I don't see any further hand raises. I think
On behalf of Geeta Parivar, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to Shraddha ji, Raodeo, for the thought-provoking session. Our sincere thanks also goes out to the technical team for their relentless efforts in making the session a great success. A small announcement: at the end of the session, there will be the chanting of the Hanuman Chalisa. So I request you to please wait to listen to that after the closing prayer. So I now call upon, if you wait, sorry about that. I now call upon Manju Rani Gupta ji for the final pratna. Manju Gupta is a postgraduate homemaker from Budaun, Uttar Pradesh. She loves to study and travel. She joined Geeta Parivar in January 2023 and serves as a group coordinator. Welcome, Manju ji.
we need to
Thank
unmute.
you, Didi. Jai Shri Krishna, Didi.
Jai Shri
Jai Shri
Krishna.
Krishna,
Jai Shri
all sadhaks. Yogesham Sachidanandam Vasudevam Brajpriyam Dharma Sanstapikam Viram Krishna Vande Jagadgurum Shri Krishna Vande Jagadgurum Shri Hare Namah, Shri Hare Namah.
Thank you, Manju Didi, for the wonderful melodious prayer. See you next week for another enlightening session. Jai Shri Krishna.
In the meantime, wait for Hanuman Chalisa, everybody.
जी स्टार्ट कर रहा हूँ.
जी, wait.
सरोज रज निज मनु मुकुरु सुधारी बरनऊ रघुबर विमल जसु जोदायक फलचारी बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेस विकार। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीसति लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मूज जनेऊ साजे शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज संवारे लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुबीर हरषि उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरतहि सम भाई सहस बदन तुम रोजस गावे अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा जम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहाते कवि कोविद कहि सकै कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीवहि कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीन्हा तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर है सब जग जाना जुग सहस्र जो जन पर भानु लील्योताहि मधुर फल जानू प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माही जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाही दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हरे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज संहारो आपे तीनों लोक हांकते कांपे भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे महावीर जब नाम सुनावे नासै रोग हरै सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत वीरा संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे चारों जुग पर ताप तुम्हारा है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा साधु संत के तुम रखवारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे अष्ट सिद्धि नौ निधि के दाता असवर दीन जानकी माता राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे अंत काल रघुबर पुर जाई जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई और देवता चित्तन धरई हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलबीरा जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई छूट ही बंदी महासुख होई जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा होय सिद्धि साखी गौरीसा तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा पवन तनय संकट हरना मंगल मूर्ति रूप राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसहु सुर भूप सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय।